Now, here we go. Today, what we're going to do is number 1, 2, and 3. It says write equation in point-slope form for the line that passes through the given point with the slope provided, then graph the equation. So what we're going to do is, I didn't really ask you to graph yesterday, but today I made some graph paper for you. All right, so I want you to go down. It's at the bottom here. All right, now remember what I showed you about copying question number 1 and just dropping it right below. And then we're going to do that. All right, anybody have any questions? All right, so with question number 1, all right, I think everybody who paid attention yesterday can now write the equation in point-slope form. Who wants to volunteer for question number 1, writing it in point-slope form? Come on, come on, come on. Someone be brave. Harrison.
Would it be y minus 5
Perfect.
negative 6, and then open parentheses x plus 2?
Exactly correct. All right, exactly correct. And for those of you guys who forgot, remember, the formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Anybody have any questions with that? All right, now I'm just going to show you. In the past, we've graphed the y-intercept, all right, and then we use the slope to find another point, and then we graph, all right. But right now, they're giving us the point negative 2, 5. So I want everybody to watch and make sure they see. We're going to graph negative 2, 5. So if I graph negative 2, 5, I would be right here. Is everybody good with that? Plotting that point? Everybody plot that point. Then from that point, notice I'm not doing the y-intercept. From that point, I'm going to use the slope. Well, what is the slope? Negative 6 over what, though?
1.
Negative 6 over 1. Remember, slope is rise over run. So from this point now, we are going to go down how many?
6.
So I'm going to go down 6. Notice I didn't plot a point. Then I go to the right what?
1.
Go to the right 1. All right. And now I have 2 points. And now I can graph the line. Is everybody with me on this? Any questions? Everybody agree kind of easy, right? All right, especially from yesterday. So those of you guys who may not have had a chance yesterday, all right, you weren't 100% sure, that's a good review problem right there. Everybody comfortable with that? All right, so now go grab question number 2 and pull it right down here. All right? And then we'll try to write the equation, and then we will graph the line. All right. Who's going to be brave now? Yes, Charlotte, go.
Y plus 8 equals 5 over 6 parentheses x plus 2.
Amazing. Good job. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. All right. Now we're going to graph. All right, so the first thing I got to do is I have to graph the point negative 2, negative 8. So let's find negative 2, negative 8. Plot a point. Everybody happy with that? Now, Charlotte, what do I do?
Now you find the slope, which is 5 over 6.
Uh-huh.
Go up 5.
So you go up 5,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go over
To the right.
to the right 6. Now I can plot the point. And again, Hubble, you good?
Yep.
Now again, I was trying to tell somebody this morning, I need you to be brave and say, hey, I'm not sure what you're doing. All right, speak up. All right, that's your only job. What?
Why do you go down 8?
Say that again.
Why do you go down 8?
Look right here, buddy. That's the point.
Oh.
Do you agree with that now? You understand what I'm saying, right? Good. Anybody else? Anybody else? No problems. Good. You got a question?
Yeah, if it's a positive 8, how do you
Look right here. Right here. What point are we plotting?
Oh, -8.
Right.
You just look at that.
Yes. You're looking at the point, not what's inside the equation. Not what's inside the equation. All right? So I want somebody to find, everybody try number 3 now. Remember, your job is to try to do number 3 all by yourself. And then I'll call on somebody, all right, and you can see whether or not you understand it. Now's the time to figure out if you understand it. All right, Isabel, tell me.
Y -3 equals -1.5, and then parentheses x minus 4.
Simple, simple, simple. Very good. All right, now tell me what's next.
So, up 4.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Tell me, what do I do?
You plot the
How do I plot that?
go up 1 over.
Now listen, she makes a good mistake. Listen, when she says go up 4 and over 3, she's talking about the slope. You see what I'm saying? You're doing the slope, right? So that's the hardest part. That's why we're graphing points. You graph points what first? X, and then what?
Y.
And then they decided to do slope what first?
Y.
And then what?
X.
That's why kids make mistakes. So now tell me again, what do I do?
3.
Yes, you're going to plot over 4 and up 3. So let's everybody plot that point. And now we're going to do what?
Go down 1.
Exactly. Down 1 and over how many?
2.
Exactly correct. I'm listening.
Wait, would you go to the left?
Why would I go to the left? All right, so that's a very good mistake. Also, let's talk about that. Is -1/2 the same as -1 over -2? No, because that way it would be both. You with me on that?
Yeah.
So you either go down and to the right, or you go up and to the left. All right? And then let's just go ahead and plot, or let's graph those lines. All right, what, Gavin?
What are you doing with the x minus 4?
I don't know what you mean.
The parentheses.
That's from the equation. I'm plotting this point right here. I'm plotting this point and using this slope. All right, I'm not really doing anything. This is just the equation of the line that contains that point and that slope. All right, very important. All right. Now, let's go back up and let's talk about the next set of problems. Bless you. It says here, today's the new lesson. Write the equation in what? Standard form. So we had, the first day we had y equals mx plus b, which is called slope-intercept. Then we had y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, which is called point slope. And now we have the standard form. All right? And what we do for the standard form is we write it like this. ax plus by equals c. Notice x and y are on the same side. And a, b, and c are integers. All right, so the first thing you must remember, a, b, c are integers. Now those of you guys who forgot what integers are, they're just counting numbers, positives and negatives. All right, so 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3. All right, there's 2 more rules. The second rule is A must be greater than 0, which is just a fancy word for saying A is positive. And then finally, you would say A, B, and C are relatively prime. So you got to think back to your 5th grade days when we talked about numbers being relatively prime. All right, and I'll give you an example of relatively prime. These numbers, 6, 7, and 8 are relatively, not 8, 6, 7, and let's say 5, 6, 7. Let's make it easy. Are all those numbers prime numbers? No, 6 is not prime, but they're relatively prime because they don't share any common factors. All right, they don't share any common factors. All right, now let me give you a real example. Over here, if I said 4x plus 2y equals 8, the reason why that is not written in standard form properly is because I could divide everything through by what?
2.
I could divide everything through by 2. Everybody with me now? All right, so those numbers are not relatively prime because they all share a factor of 2. Everybody with me on that? All right. So now, again, standard form is very simple. Standard form is very simple. X and Y go on the same side. The constant goes on the other side. No fractions. A is positive. All right, so let's get right into it now. All right, now what I like to do is I just highlighted 4, 5, and 6 and dropped it down a little bit. All right, if you want to do them individually, that's fine. Now I'm going to start with number 5 because number 5 is a little bit easier because it doesn't have the fraction. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to convert question number 5 first into a standard form. All right, so the first thing I need to do is I need to distribute the negative 5. When I distribute the negative 5, I get negative 5x minus 15. Anybody have any issues with that? Now, do you remember what I said? I want the x to be positive, correct? So I'm going to move the negative 5x from the right side to the what? To the left side. If it's negative 5x on the right, it's going to be what? Positive 5x on the left. So I'm going to have 5x plus y equals. Now the 7 is out of place. So I have to move the 7 from the left to the what? To the right. So if I move 7 to the right, it's going to be negative altogether. Thank you. Negative 22. Perfect. All right, does anybody have any questions with that now? All right, now remember, you're concentrating on learning how to move numbers around. If it's positive on the left, it's going to be what? Negative on the right. If it's negative on the right, it's going to be positive on the left. Tell me.
So when you add 15 and add 15.
I didn't add 15. I subtracted 7. All right, let me visualize it for you, just to make sure you're good. So I'm taking this negative 5x, and I'm moving it over here.
Oh, okay.
Then I'm taking this positive 7, and I'm moving it where? Over here. You with me?
Oh.
That's what I did. All right, I want you guys to be able to visualize those movements now. All right? You always have to remember if it's one side plus, the other side it's minus. Or if it's minus, the other side it's plus. That's how simple it is to move things. Everybody good with that? All right, now we'll get into the trickier ones. The trickier ones involve fractions. All right, so one of the rules is you're not allowed to have a fraction. So how do you think I get rid of a divided by 8?
Multiply by 8.
Look how simple, guys. Very simple. All I'm doing is I'm multiplying this equation on both sides by what?
8.
8, because I'm undoing the divided by 8. So if I multiply the left side by 8, I get what?
8y plus 16.
Thank you very much. 8y plus 16. Now the hard part. On the right side, what happens to the times 8 and the divided by 8? It just becomes a 7, right? Now, let's see if I mess you up. What did I do? I just distributed the 7, right? So the 8's cancel, and I distributed the 7. All right, now you got to pay attention now. What?
Why didn't you multiply x minus 3 by 8?
Because I canceled out the 8,
Oh,
right?
so you never distribute the fraction in that? You just
Exactly. We got rid of the fraction. Why do we get rid of the fraction? Because standard form is not allowed to have fractions. Okay, that's why. All right, now look up for a second. Do everybody see I want the x to stay positive, right? So do I want to move the 7x from the right to the left?
No.
Because that would make it what?
Negative.
So I want to move the 8y to the, now the x stays what?
positive.
Then if I move the 8y to the right, I need to move the 21 to the left. All right, that's what you have to be able to see. That's what you have to be able to see. All right, so here we go. If I do that, I want you to see if you agree. 7x minus 8y is equal to 37. Look carefully now. Again, you're concentrating on making your understanding of numbers better. That's what we're doing. All right, one more time. I moved the 8y from the left to the what?
Right.
So it was what over here? So over there it's going to be,
Negative.
agreed?
Yep.
Negative 21's on the right. I'm moving it to the, so if it's negative 21 over here, it is.
Positive.
So 16 plus 21,
37.
we can do that mental math. What?
So you want to keep the x positive?
Always. X is always positive.
Not the y. Like not the y.
Tell me what I just said. X is always positive. Did I say anything about the y? No. You hear what I'm saying now, right? I know you're trying to, put it all in your mind. All I'm asking you is about the x, right? I don't care about the y. X has to be positive. All right? X has to be positive. So can the y be negative?
Yes.
Yes. Can the y be positive?
Yes.
The only thing that has to be true is x must be. There you have it. Now, it's still not written in the right format because I want x and y to be written first, technically. So all I have to do is just say 7x minus 8y equals 37. Everybody good with that? Simple. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to look at question number 6. So somebody give me some advice on number 6.
Multiply by 3. On
Yes,
both
sir.
sides.
Multiply by 3 on both sides. Very good. All right, so I'm going to multiply by 3 on both sides.
And then,
What do I get?
so you get 3y plus 6 equals 5x plus 30.
You're awesome, buddy. Good job. Easy as that. Good? Bubble, you all right?
Yep. So you multiply by 3.
That's right. Now look what happened. I put a 3 here and a 3 here, right? So this 3 and this 3 canceled out. Agreed?
And then once you cancel out the 3's because you've gotten rid of the fraction, you can just distribute.
Wow. Couldn't have said it better myself. Very good. Exactly correct. Now, some of you just have to get some confidence in what you're seeing, right? And if you're not sure about something, you're supposed to look up on the board and say, how in the world did you get 30? You got 30 by going 5 times 6. You can figure that out. And once you say, hey, the only possible way he could have gotten 30, then you know I just distributed. Now we got to collect the x and y. So what am I moving? What needs to be moved?
3y.
The 3y needs to be moved, correct? And what else needs to be moved? The 30, right? Because I want the x value to stay positive. So I move the y. So 5x minus 3y is equal to somebody?
Negative 24.
Wow, negative 24. But of course, 5x minus 3y equals negative 24. Good job, good job. Very easy. Yes, sir.
How did you get the b?
What do you mean, how did I get?
Oh,
you're-
6,
you're
that's
right, you're right. No,
6.
that's my fault. That's my fault. There you go. I'll try to do better. All right. Everybody's happy with that, hopefully. Feeling good. All right, now let's go down to 7, 8, 9. Now, old. We have to write it in what? Slope-intercept form, which means y equals mx plus b. We have to write it as y equals mx plus b. Everybody good? So all I have to do for number 7 is distribute the what? Y minus 10 equals 4x plus 24. Final answer. Y equals 4x plus 34. Any issues? No, it's just a different form. Do you agree? We were doing just what? Standard. Now the directions say slope-intercept. All right? You have to know the difference. Yes, sir.
Oh.
Good?
I see 34.
All right. Now, why is 8 kind of more difficult? You have to know how to do fractions. So we're practicing in class mental math for fractions. Everybody should be able to look at that and just tell me what the answer is. All right, so if I said, what's 3/4 times 5? Of course, everybody's just going to scream out loud, what? Negative 15 over 4. Right? Anybody have any questions with why it's negative 15 over 4? There's nothing to be embarrassed about. All right, you just forgot. Big deal. Anybody have any questions with how it's negative 15 over 4? All right, now I have to do what to both sides?
Add 7. You have to add the 7.
Add 7. If I add 7, how many fourths is 7? 28. Thank you very much. Does everybody agree with me? All right, you're adding 28 fourths. If I add 28 fourths, that's going to be? Is that right? Think so? You may agree with him? Remember, if you're not seeing the fractions, you got to practice. And let me help you. Practice. Yes.
I'm sorry, how did you get the last part?
The 13 fourths? Because I added 7 to both sides. Do you agree?
Oh, okay.
And 7 is the same as 28 fourths. And 28 minus 15 is 13.
Oh,
Right?
I get that now.
All right, here we go. We got one more. Well, no. Number 9 is really easy. That should have been number 1. What's the last one? Y equals. Say it out loud. Come on, girl. Say it loud and proud. Not too loud. Y equals x plus 13. Good. Very good. Simple as that. All right, so you should have a really good understanding of point slope, slope-intercept, and standard form. All right, let's see what you know. All right, so now let's fly around the room. Notice it says graph the equation. I don't worry about graphing the equations right now. All right, Ava, you're up. Number 11, write the equation for me. Now we're doing it in point slope form.
That's like the y minus
Yes, it is. Tell me.
y minus 3 equals 7 x minus 5.
Awesome. Virginia, you're up. Number 13.
So y plus 3 equals x plus 6.
Leah, you're up.
And the y minus 11 equals 4 x plus
Hubble, you're up.
16.
17.
So it would be 1 plus 9 equals m parentheses. Oh wait,
Leave them alone.
y plus 9 equals negative 7/5, then parentheses x plus 2.
Look how simple. Yay. Very good. All right, feeling good. Anybody have any issues with that? No issues, right? I don't care about graphing it right now. What?
Are we gonna do that?
We'll
Okay.
figure it out here in a few minutes. All right? Write the equation in standard form. All right? Now, let's go down. Grab 19 through 25 here. All right, Drew, tell me, what do I have to do first for 19? Standard form. Now look right here, buddy. I don't want to throw you off. Remember, what I'm trying to get at is ax plus by equals c. You with me? So what do I do? Good.
Equals 2x minus 60.
Beautiful so far. All right, now, what are you thinking? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to look at the x first. It's a little bit harder, so it's okay. I want you to look at the x. Is the x positive or negative? So we don't want to change that. So I have to move the y. So if I throw the y over there, it's going to become what?
2x minus 16 minus
Exactly, but I don't need the minus 16. Because the minus 16 is going to go what? Right? So if I, what does that become?
6.
There, your 6 is what? Exactly. All right, so everybody should be able to write that down now. So we have 6 is equal to 2x minus y. Agreed? But we want to go ahead and write it as 2x minus y equals 6. Any issues? Good job. What? All right, I like that. Jump in on 21. Tell me what I have to do. Y minus 9.
Equals negative 6x minus 51.
Beautiful. Now what?
And then you have to add the 54 to the other side and subtract the y.
Why is that? Look up. Look up. What can you tell me? What can you tell me about the x?
Or it has to be positive, so you have to move the x.
That's right. This time you're going to have to move the x because we want the x to be positive.
So plus 6
Right?
plus 6x. And then you have to plus 9.
Yes?
So it equals y plus 6x equals 45.
Negative, right?
Negative.
Okay, now your little technicality. X has to go first, right? True? So you just say 6x plus y equals negative 45.
Why does that?
Because that's the rule. All right. X goes first, just like why does x have to be positive? I don't know why. Just the book says x is positive. All right. So question,
What happens if x turns out as a negative?
you move it, make it positive.
I was actually wondering if I could do it.
All right, go ahead. What do I have to do first?
So you have to get rid of the fraction
Mhm.
and multiply by 10.
Yes, you do. Multiply by 10. Tell me what I have.
Well, when you multiply by 10, it cancels
Mhm.
it out from the fraction.
Right.
And, so you have y plus 7 equals 9.
Wait a minute. You got to multiply this by 10, though.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be actually
10y
good.
plus 70.
Exactly. Equals.
90. 10y plus 70 equals 9x plus 10.
Exactly. Everybody happy with that? What's the matter?
never mind.
All right. Now, continue.
And then I just kind of went on a toy. Okay. Okay. So now, we move the 10y
Yes.
to
Very
the
good.
right side. And then, so 9x minus 10y.
Now what do I
And
do?
then, subtract 27
Yes, you
to
do.
the other side. So it'll be 43, 43.
Right? Is it 43? Yeah. Subtract 20 first, and then subtract 7. Now, you just have to move it to 9x minus 10y equals 43. Told you, it's pretty easy. Pretty easy. All right, Michael, you tell me about number 25.
Okay. So, since there's a fraction, you have to take away the fraction. So you multiply both sides by 3.
Beautiful.
So then it's 6y plus 9 equals negative 1x plus 2.
Beautiful.
Then you, since the x is negative, then you move that to the left.
Right?
So it's, and then you move the 9 over to the right.
Perfect.
So it's 1x plus 6y. And then it's 1x plus 6y equals negative 6.
Well, sometimes negative 7.
So,
After all that. I hate that last step. All right, here we go. Good. X plus 6y equals negative 7. Yes, sir.
Do you multiply it by, like, when you multiply by 3, is it negative 3 or positive?
Well, what did I say it was?
Positive.
There you are. All right, now let's jump down a little bit. Well, not because we have to do 27, 29, 31, and 33. And this time we're just writing it in, I think it says slope-intercept, right? Slope-intercept. So this is the easy one. Tyler, 27, what do I do? Now remember, we're trying to get into this format, just to make sure.
So y equals negative 2x plus 4 minus 7.
Well, you're distributing the negative 2, right? So y minus 6 equals negative 2x plus 14. Do you see that or not? Right? Now what?
Now you have to do, since the 2x is
No, listen to me now. Listen. This is what I'm afraid of when we get to our test, is that I start asking you questions and you don't know what form. So that's why it's important. This is the form we're trying to get to, right? So all we're doing is we're isolating the y. There you go. That's all you have to do, plus 6, right? So you have to know the form or you'll be in lots of trouble. All right, so we add 6. So the final answer is just y equals negative 2x plus 20.
So the x can be negative on this format.
Yes, have at it. What do I do first?
Redistribute.
That's right. So what do I get?
Y plus 5 equals negative 6x plus negative 42.
Beautiful. Now what?
Minus 5.
Exactly.
Y equals negative 6x minus 2.
Yes.
Negative 47.
Yes. There you go. Look how easy. Very simple. Very simple. Just like, are you allowed fractions on slope intercepts?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. 31.
Okay, so you want to get rid of the fraction?
No, you don't.
Okay, so.
Because why? Because we're not doing what form?
Because we're not doing slope.
Standard form.
Form, so we're doing slope-intercept.
Slope-intercept. So all I have to do is?
So you do 1/6 times x.
Yes, that is correct.
-4, you get 1/6 x minus 4/6.
Which reduces to?
1.
You're okay. Come on, relax, man. 4/6.
2/3.
Yes, there you go. Just take your time, man. We're not in a race. All right? Take your time and relax. Mental math is important. Okay? Now what do I have to do?
So now you have to move the x to the.
Remember, we're isolating y. We're isolating y for this form.
So we have to minus 2.
Yes, there you go. So we're going to subtract 2. How many thirds is 2? Think about it like this. You got 2 peaches. Cut them into thirds. How many slices do you have? Shh, leave them alone. Or we can just do it.
1.
And then we get a common denominator.
And the common denominator would be 3.
So we have to change this 2 to what?
-6 over 3.
There you go. There you have it. So your final answer is?
Y equals 1/6 x minus 8/3.
That's correct. Nothing to it. All right, Parker, finish it up. 33, what do I do?
Okay, you have to distribute the 1 or -1/3.
Right?
So then it would be y plus 3 equals negative 2 over 3x minus 2.
Beautiful. Final answer.
And then our answer would be y equals negative 2 over 3x minus 5.
Exactly correct. All right, now let's go back up to the top. And so now listen, wherever it says graph, I don't really care about graphing. I think you guys know how to graph. If you don't know how to graph, you should what? You should graph it just to make sure you know. And if you're having trouble graphing, you come in the morning and say, just double check my graphing. Or you can go and look at the answers and they'll show you. Everybody with me now? All right. So now your job is just to do the what? Evens. 12 through 34. Evens. 12 through 34 evens. All right. And again, you don't have to graph unless you feel like you need it. Anybody have any questions? All right. Very, very good job for today. Let me go ahead and